Hola! Welcome back to another Spanish lesson with Senor Geis. In this video, we're going to be talking about the verb estar, which means to be, and how you can conjugate it, and a couple different ways you can use it. So first of all, estar means to be, and you might be a little confused when I say that because you might already know that the verb ser also means to be. So what's the deal? There's two different ways to say to be in Spanish. And I'm going to make another video in the future about this, but for now, all you need to know, estar means to be when you're talking about the states or conditions or locations of things. So, for example, estar would mean to be when you're talking about how people feel or when you're talking about where things are. If you can remember those two things, that'll pretty much cover everything you need to know about when to use estar instead of ser. So estar is an irregular verb, which means it does not follow the normal pattern. So if you try to conjugate it normally by putting an O for yo, an as for tú, an a for él or ella, an amos for nosotros, an ais for vosotros, and an for ellos, you would not conjugate it wrong. You would not conjugate it right because it's an irregular verb. So don't conjugate it like that. Instead, there's just a couple things you need to know about how to conjugate it. It's almost normal. It almost follows the pattern, but there's just a few small things that you need to remember when you're conjugating this verb. So first of all, in the yo form, you are going to say yo estoy. Yo estoy. So you do add an O, but then you also add a Y after the O. You see right there, there's a Y. Yo estoy. I am. Second of all, in the tú, él, ella, and ellos forms of this verb, you're going to add an accent. So you can see tú estás has an accent, ella está has an accent, and ellos están has an accent over that A. So remember to put that accent on the A. It's really important when you're conjugating this verb that you put an accent over that A. And finally, the nosotros and vosotros forms are not actually irregular at all. So nosotros estamos, that's exactly what you would expect when you're conjugating the verb, and vosotros estáis is exactly what you would expect. So this is the conjugation of estar, yo estoy, tú estás, él or ella está, nosotros estamos, vosotros estáis, and ellos están. And to remember how to do this, just remember that there's a Y in the yo form, yo estoy, and then these bottom four forms all have accents, and then nosotros does not. So there's a lot of different ways you can use the verb estar. First one you probably know is ¿Cómo estás? How are you? So you're asking someone how they're feeling. ¿Cómo estás? If someone asked you, ¿Cómo estás? You could say a lot of different things. For example, you could say, Estoy bien, I'm good. Estoy mal, I'm bad. Estoy ocupada, I'm busy. And you can also talk about how other people feel with this verb now that you know all the forms. El zorro está cansado. The fox is tired. Los muchachos están tristes. The boys are sad. And estamos contentos. We are happy. We're content. You can also talk about where people are, like I said in the beginning of the video. ¿Dónde estás? Means where are you? You could say, to say where you are, you're going to need to use the word en, which means in, at, or on, depending on the context of where you're talking about. But it doesn't really matter that much. For example, you can say, estás en la escuela, you are in school, or you could say you are at school. Either works, but it still means the same thing, right? Estás en la escuela. Or you could say, estáis en el cine, you guys are at the movie theater, or you guys are in the movie theater. And estoy en la playa, I am on the beach, or I'm at the beach. Estoy en la playa. So just to summarize, you got to know the conjugations of estar, and just remember the irregularities with the accents in the bottom four and the Y in the yo form. Yo estoy, tú estás, él, ella está, nosotros estamos, vosotros estáis, and ellos están. And also keep in mind that you're going to use this verb when you're talking about how people are feeling and where people are.